2019 was a good year for JRPGs. There was Fire Emblem Three Houses, controversy incarnate, Dragon Quest XI's finally came to the Switch, Slay the Spire isn't a JRPG as the developers were based in Seattle, Washington, but they made one of the best games in 2019 that has RPG elements which I enjoy even back in its beta in 2018, and Chugga Conroy got everyone to take Chrono Trigger off their backlog after leaving it there for 7 years. However, unless you were a Switch owner slaving away at the multiple releases of Final Fantasy that finally got ported to the console, 2019 was a pretty slow year, which is why March 2020 alone is going to be the best year in gaming. Forget the other 11 months, in March alone we get 5 AAA titles that people have been waiting literally over a decade for. But we're here only to talk about a couple of the games that come out in that month, because for all gamers, 2020 is looking to be one of the greats in gaming history, and for us JRPG fans, that is no exception. So this list is going to be about the games that I personally am excited for, as I won't be able to play all of them, but I'm gonna try. There's no real ordering to this list, so let's just start off with the one that pretty much everyone with a pulse is excited for, and that is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because I mean, come on, even if you've never played a Final Fantasy, you are excited for this game, which is something I am obligated to say because I've never played more than 5 hours of a Final Fantasy game, unless Bravely Default counts. Alright, so I'm a JRPG fiend, but I've literally never owned a Sony console until 2018, which I literally bought for Persona 5. I've always wanted to get into the series, and so my goal before March 2020 is to try and beat Final Fantasy IV first. I want to do that game since it's my roommate's favorite, and I kinda owe it to him to do it. And then I want to beat the original 7 on the Switch in like February, so it's gonna be tight for me with college as well, but I'll make it work somehow. And then, hopefully after beating Final Fantasy VII, why do I feel like my phone went off? Ignoring that. I hope I can dive right into the masterpiece that will be this game, because we already know it's going to be good. I mean, the models, man. Look at the models. Cloud and Barrett look absolutely incredible. Aerith, an absolute queen. Tifa, oh boy, Tifa looks immaculate. That girl, oh, I'm ready for the fan art. And there's the other characters they haven't even shown off too, like Yuffie, Red 13, Vincent, Cat C. I have no clue how you actually pronounce that name, but that's how I've heard it said, so comments please correct me because I'm horribly ignorant on the series. It's kind of sad that it's still being made piecewise, but I'm sure that if the game goes all the way to the big moment that I kinda don't want to spoil for like the one person who's watching this that doesn't know what it is, because it's weird to say there are people that don't know what the big plot twist in Final Fantasy VII is, but that's a thing that exists now, which is going to be hilarious to see all the reactions if they go that far in the game. But yeah, the Persona machine is finally going to be used for more than just Persona. But let Ryuji say, fuck yeah, I am excited for Persona 5 Royal. Despite being a Fire Emblem channel, I've gone out of my way to talk about Persona 5 before, because this game is that good. I just want to say how desperately excited I am for this game, as I already have it pre-ordered on Amazon, the deluxe version no less, and I can't wait to see how Atlus improves upon the game, because I feel there is a lot that can be fixed, and we've seen them go about it in the right ways in the promotional stuff they've shown. My personal favorite is Persona 3 because the themes of death hit real close to home for me. Not because I've experienced any of that stuff, but just because the characters are so good. Akihiko's big moment, you know what I'm talking about if you've played it, that almost made me cry. Junpei's big moment gave me so many feels. Persona 3 just has all the best boys, all good boys, except Ken. Fuck Ken, but they have the best doggo, so it's fine. And then Persona 4 just has the absolute best party chemistry from just any group in any JRPG I've seen, period. It's so good, but I think Royal might give that a good run for its money. My big issues with 5, first off, it's the cast chemistry is the first issue I have, as they try to do the ideas in both 3 and 4, and then fuse them, but it just doesn't really work. In P3, the cast just fucking hate each other. No one likes each other. Everyone has a selfish reason to join C's, but it really humanizes the cast as they all grow together over time and come to rely on one another. So I like how the friendship is really subtle in that game, but then P4 goes full 180 and then just shoves the friendship right in your face, but the cast is so good, you don't even care. It's so good. And then they even have the subtle stuff with the villain, and it's just it's just, it's beautiful. So with like 3 and 4 doing it so well, I kind of feel like 5 just kind of shit the bed with it. I don't like how they handle the villains either. That's my other really big gripe. Outside of Kamoshida, because Kamoshida is quite literally the king of villains. But yeah, the last palace and the penultimate palace try really hard to shove the themes of friendship and whatnot down your throat. I don't like it. It's so forced. I also hate like the final palace because the final areas in the other 2 games are like literally you can just run through them if you want because you don't give a fuck about them. You want to get to the end. But it goes on for like 5 hours and it just drags. It doesn't fit with the themes that well, so I hope Royal streamlines it a little bit better because it might contest my favorite game of all time, which is Xenoblade Chronicles. But yes, Xenoblade Chronicles HD is finally coming to Switch. All of the Xenoblade 2 fans are going to see why 1 is better. I'm not an elitist, I swear. Xenoblade 2 is still one of my favorite games, but I think the original beats it because of the story and the cast. I mean, it's no contest that Shulk is better than Rex, but on the same side, Pyra is better than Fiora, but that's just me. I know some people like Fiora better than Melia, but the real contest is going to be Melia versus Nia, and I do not envy the man that has to make that decision. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles, personal game of the decade for me, because it came out 2010 in Japan, and it was thankfully localized in 2012, towards the end of the Wii's life, and I'm so grateful for that. It's still my favorite game of all time. I'm so excited for Melia to get the fan art she deserves. It's going to be glorious. You're all going to understand why she's best girl once that happens. Same thing, but I mean, they kind of made it so that Mithra was the favorite, but we don't talk about that. Pyra over Mithra. Anyways, this game, there's not a lot for me to talk about, but one thing that's awesome is that they're going to put cut content into the game because in the trailer, they show the Bionis shoulder, and that's really cool because we have no idea how they're going to implement that into the game. And the other thing we don't know anything about, well, we don't know a lot about the game, but the real big thing I want to see is the combat, because Xenoblade 2 had some real good combat, and then Monolith just said, actually, fuck that shit, and then they made it even better in Torna, which, it's crazy. It's crazy how they improved upon something within less than a year and just made it so much better. It's incredible that I have high hopes for this game. This game's going to blow people out of the water. People are going to love it. I'm going to fall in love with the series all over again. I'm so excited for Xenoblade Chronicles HD Remake, and I really hope you people, please, if there's one game you try on this list, let it be Xenoblade Chronicles HD Remake. I promise you it's going to be phenomenal. So yeah, I know I said there's like no real order, but those are like the big 3 I feel that are like coming out this year, and 2 of them come out in March, which is crazy. But one game we don't have a release date for yet is Bravely Default 2, another game with just a teaser, 2020 release date. I wish it was in March, but that'd be absurd. However, Bravely Default 2 is going to be phenomenal. I have no doubts about that. Many people loved Octopath. It sold over 1 million copies on the Switch in like, what, a month or something? It sold like hotcakes, so who knows how much that number's already increased with PC sales. I'd imagine a good amount. But this game's going to be good, and you people know it's going to be good. Bravely Default. Bravely Default is such a underrated gem nowadays. Like, no one talks about it anymore, but oh my gosh, it might be one of my favorite games of all time. Its gameplay is just so perfectly refined. It's immensely polished, perfected to a T, and it has aged like fine wine. And I literally screamed when I saw this. I saw that Revo is coming back to do the music for Bravely Default 2, and it's going to be godlike. If they get Sawano Hiroyuki to direct them again, that's a legendary OST right there. Like, if Sawano comes back, this game's OST is going to be as legendary as the naming of this series is confusing. Alright, and now let's shift away from the Nintendo for a bit and go back to Sony, because I want to talk about a game. I don't really have any qualifications to talk about myself, but I feel it's worth a mention because it looks really good, and that's going to be Nioh 2, another game coming out in March. So, for those who don't know, Nioh is like it's a Souls game, and it is by definition a JRPG because the Soul games are JRPGs. I mean, Sekiro, JRPG, won Game of the Year at the Game Awards. I mean, I don't know, Donkey said it's Game of the Year, I ain't gonna argue with the man, I don't know anything about it. However, one thing that really catches my attention is how it's set in Japan. The original Nioh followed William Adams, who was a real person. He has a really dope lore and backstory that I'm not gonna explain here. But basically, you're going through Japan and you're fighting a bunch of these yokai in this beautiful scenery, and it looks great. And Neo 2 is a prequel from what I understand. You have a customizable avatar whose appearance you can change on the fly, so that's sick. And yeah, a lot of the DLC they added in Neo's in Neo 2 at base, so there's a lot of combat options. I don't know, maybe it'll be a good starting point for me to get into the Souls series, because I've never played Dark Souls, never played Bloodborne, I haven't played any of that stuff. Maybe Neo 2 is where I give it a shot. Probably not in March, because there's a lot of stuff already there for me. I already mentioned 2 of the entries on this list, but if you're into that type of stuff, I think Neo 2 is going to be a really solid, the final Souls swan song for the console, as the PS5 is going to come out in holiday 2020, they said, and that's just crazy to think about. We're already getting the PS5. And we're going to keep it rated M, fuckheads, because now I want to talk about No More Heroes 3. Now, I never played 1 or 2 because I was like, what, 12 when those games came out? I heard about it the same way many of you probably heard about it, which is through YouTube, as the people I watch love talking about these games. I've seen Rabbit Luigi's Let's Plays on them when he did that, so I know about the games, I know the lore, I know about the twat that is Jasper Bat Jr., I know it all, I am fully understanding of the series, which is why I'm very excited for No More Heroes 3. Dope trailer aside. Travis Touchdown, that man is like so many people's spirit animal because he's just a fucking nerd with a lightsaber. I know it's a beam katana, but come on, the man is into Moe. We all know what it's really a reference to. The guy's also a pro wrestler, as he has a lot of the grapples. I think they even showed in the trailer where he just suplexes a man. He does that all the time in the games, and it's sick how he could just switch from slashing people up to just suplexing them, comboing it into that stuff. It's crazy. He has so much potential, and now the trailer gives him a mecha? I don't know where that came from, but it looks sick. I didn't play Travis Strikes Back because it was weird. It wasn't the game we were all expecting it to be. I know a lot of people bought it just to support Suda, which I'm very grateful for those people because No More Heroes 3 is gonna be sick, but all I'm saying is that if Bayo 1 and 2 can get ports onto the Switch, Nintendo, please port No More Heroes 1 and 2 to the Switch. I haven't bought Bayo 1 and 2 on the Switch. I will buy No More Heroes 1 and 2 on the Switch if you port them, so come on. Just give Suda the money to do that. Now, I kind of had like rough notes for the last few things I talked about, but from here on out, I'm just kind of going off the cusp because I just stopped caring. So, DBZ Kakarot, that's coming out soon. January 17th, not that far. I mean, it's the annual DBZ game. And the last one I played was Budokai Tenkaichi 3, the classic, the GOAT, the undisputable king. Everyone loves that game, unless you're a hipster. That game was the shit back in the day. It even had some GT stuff on it, and oh, so much fun. I played Xenoverse with my friend, who owns it, and that game was some ass. That game was not fun to play, but I don't know, Kakarot looks like it's got some of that spice. Maybe it's the open world exploration, maybe it's the presentation that just looks a bit, I don't know why, something about Kakarot just looks really good. Maybe it's the fact that I'm a bit nostalgic for like a good DBZ game and like the ones recently. I don't like Xenoverse, I don't like Xenoverse 2, so maybe there's something here that can make it fresh. I haven't played Fighters just because I'm not big on classic fighting games. I suck at them, but it's got the JRPG element. It's a good fighter. I hope it's as good as it looks, and that open world looks phenomenal. So if it can deliver on that stuff, that would be incredible. So 2020 is already a big year, but it's big for Grand Blue because in early February, the fighting game Versus is coming out. It looks sick. But there's also a Grand Blue JRPG coming out in 2020, allegedly. From what I understand, it's 2020. It might get pushed to PS5, I don't know. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is a JRPG based off of the titular mobile game Grand Blue Fantasy. Very popular, has I think over 20 million downloads, and has destroyed the lives of many a Japanese and American. Like, the game is so popular, they literally had to put laws around gachas because one man dumped, I think it was like 300,000 yen, so like several grand, just to get his waifu, and he didn't get him. And so that's why Grand Blue has like, after like what, 300 summons, you're guaranteed a free pull of whatever banner you want or something like that. I don't know how it works, but Grand Blue's got some clout, and I tried playing it myself. I didn't like it. It's just way too grindy for me. I can play Fire Emblem Heroes just because I have attachment to the characters. Let Grand Blue Fantasy Relink be the excuse for me to get into Grand Blue. Fall in love, like I know the bays. Catalina bay as fuck, Narmaya bay as fuck, Greya bay as fuck. I haven't seen the anime, but oh, Grand Blue got all the waifus. Grand Blue got the waifus, and I'm ready for Relink to just hook me in. Now, I know I've been hyping up March as this good month, but April's got some good stuff too. It's got Cyberpunk 2077, you got Resident Evil 3 Remake, and given how good RE2 Remake was, that game's gonna be amazing. But in April, the Trials of Mana Remake comes out to Switch in April 24th, I believe. And that game looks really, really fun. I'm a man who enjoys his classic JRPG. I praise Bravely Default, inspired on those classic games. And it has the multiple story paths, which I'm really interested in seeing. I really hope I can play this game. It's got bays. Riez. Apparently there's some dude famous in Japan for drawing lewds of Riez for like 20 years. That man's having a field day with this. There's Angela. She's very similar to Riez because I think they're both princesses, but like Riez is the princess of a lost kingdom, whereas Angela is like a rogue princess who like left her kingdom. And then there's Charlotte, who's just the little elf. The other characters, they don't look as interesting. Hawkeye looks dope. Hawkeye looks sick, not just because of Belladonna. I don't know what his connection to her is, but like if he keeps, like if Belladonna dies, something happens to one of his beloved, I have no idea. The game looks sick. I want to try it just because I remember hearing like Secret of Mana was like the classic JRPG on the NES, like the big three with FF6, Chrono Trigger, and Secret of Mana. So Trials of Mana being the sequel to Secret of Mana makes me really interested in it to see what it has, how good it can be, and I just want to see the world, man. This game looks so pretty. It looks so nice. I'm a sucker for these types of things. So yeah, that's my excuse for being really interested in a really old game getting remade in this godly year of gaming. And now we're going to talk about the game that features the character on the middle of that thumbnail. Some of you probably have no idea who she is, but that is Shion, the female protagonist lead of the upcoming entry in the Tales series, Tales of Arise. That is the partner, I guess, like, cause like the dual protagonist thing, to, what's his name here? Alphen is the main male lead. And the reason I'm very excited for this game is because just like this last semester, a few months ago, I just finished Tales of Xillia with my roommate and I absolutely loved it. Xillia was such an interesting and fun game. I love the cast. Rowan Ilbert, probably one of my favorite characters in all of JRPGs. Rowan, I love him. Leia deserves so much more. Leia! I love Leia. Leia's great too. Elise, who doesn't love Elise? And then Alvin's fucking cool as hell. I love his scarf. Where do I get one of Alvin's scarves? I need one of those. So yeah, the reason I want to put this at the end is just because it's a series I don't know that much about, but I really want to get into, and Arise seems like the next game I'm gonna play. I know there's Xillia 2, but I don't have a PS3, so I can't really go about playing that one. I have a PS4, and unless it's on the PSN store, maybe I'll go ahead and give it a try in my free time, but I don't know yet. Arise, the combat is sick. You just see Alphen slashing and hacking, like doing like a 20-hit combo with his sword. It's sick as hell, and it looks really fun. I mean, the game itself gives me really heavy Xillia vibes because there is a male and female protagonist lead, just like with Xillia, and there's also some elements that very much remind me of Xillia. If you've beaten it, you know exactly what I'm referring to. But the whole gimmick of Arise is that the guy, Alphen, is that his name? I keep forgetting. Alphen, yeah, it's weird because they haven't really localized it and they changed it up a little bit, but Alphen's deal is that he is a man who cannot feel pain. He like pulls a sword out of Shion's chest. Don't ask me how he does that, he just does it. And the whole gimmick of the searing sword is that it burns the hand of whoever wields it, but Alphen can't feel pain. There's also the fact that he's probably being mind controlled by like some evil kingdom because he has a helmet thing on, and so it's like he breaks it, and it seems like once he breaks that, he breaks with the mind control because in another trailer you see the mind control affecting him, and it seems like you're trying to capture Shion for whatever reason, but they can't do that because her gimmick is that whenever she touches someone, or anyone who touches her feels pain. So you have a guy who can't feel pain, and a girl whose touch causes nothing but pain, and it's perfect for like romance. I want to see these two be happy and live a good ending. We know there's more of a cast because we saw a little mage girl at the end of like the second trailer they most recently put out. But yeah, just don't put a Xillia on me, and don't ruin the relationship chance, June and Mila. I wanted to see it happen, and they were like, it's kind of a will they won't they deal, and I'm like, no! These two, it's prime. It's prime for a relationship, and I don't know, from what I've seen, like, Tales fans say the best games have relationship stuff, except for Berseria, because everyone loves Velvet anyways. So yeah, that is the last game I want to talk about. Tales of Arise, get into the Tales series. It's actually really, really good. And with that, those are the top 10 JRPGs I am most excited for in 2020. 2020 is going to be a big year for me, Not just because it's like a whole new decade and yada yada yada, all that bullshit no one cares about. No, it's because I'm graduating college and I'll be starting my adult life. I'll have a job, and I'll be making a lot of my own decisions. I mean, I still live with my mom, and even when I graduate college, I'll still live with her just because she is the only family I have. I don't have any siblings, don't know what the fuck happened to my dad, and so it's like I rely on her, and we, like, depend on one another. She helped me out a lot growing up, even though I did a lot of things on my own, but it's kind of like my turn to be the good son and help out the parent in the old age. It's the whole reason why kids exist in the first place. But while I'm doing all that, I'll have a lot more free time. I won't have college, I won't have work, I won't be searching for a job or doing homework or all types of other bullshit. It'll be an opportunity for me to really sit down and play all of these games. I didn't get to do much of that in 2019. I didn't finish 3 Houses yet, which is very upsetting to me. I still have to do Golden Deer, still have to do Silver Snow, so there's a lot for me to take care of, and there's a lot in 2019. Thankfully, 2019 didn't have too much, was a lot of JRPGs. Dragon Quest XI-S, I want to play that so damn bad. I loved 9. 9 was one of my favorite games as a kid. So yeah. And let me know what you guys are excited for in the comments. I'm just rambling at this point, but I do that if you know me on this channel. Upcoming stuff for the channel, tell me if there's any games on here you'd like me to cover. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is going to get talked about eventually. Persona 5 Roll is going to get talked about eventually. Xenoblade is going to get talked about eventually. But the other ones, I can talk about if people are interested enough, and I'd gladly do stuff on it. I want to talk more about other JRPGs, which is why I made this list, to kind of just wrap up this last decade, and then basically 5 years for this channel. I mean, around Christmas time is when I started this channel back in 2014. I didn't make content really until 2016, but still, this is a big deal. Many things upcoming for me. Let me know what you guys have plans, what you're most excited for. If there's anything I missed I didn't talk about, there's a bunch of games I didn't talk about. There's that Digimon Survive game. It's like a tactic base, but for Digimon, that's sick. Langrisser, that's coming out too. That's huge. What else is there? I got a list on my phone. We also have the DLC. I didn't even talk about DLC. Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC coming out. We got 3 Houses DLC coming out that's going to be huge. There's also Star Ocean, Yokai Watch if you're into that, aka what's becoming the better Pokemon nowadays. Rune Factory 5. I wanted to play 4, but I never could because I didn't find a damn copy and I was broke. There's so much coming out in 2020, and I think it's going to be a good year. So with that said, people, it's my last video of the decade. Crazy to say that out loud without it being a troll thing, but that's it. I hope you all have a good time with your friends, family, whoever you're going to spend the new year with. There's probably something cheesy and protagonisty I can say here, but I don't really care. I hope you all have a good one, and I hope to see you guys next time when I talk about something very big for this channel. Peace.